Are you ready to transform your summer into an epic splash-tastic adventure? Say goodbye to wasteful, single-use water balloons and hello to the ultimate in reusable, eco-friendly fun with reusable water balloons. Check out the link in the video description to get yours on Amazon today.
Sir Keir Starmer has handed a peerage to an expenses scandal former Labour cabinet minister who said disgraced people should not go the Lords. Number 10 said last night that ex-Home Secretary Jackie Smith was returning as an education minister and would be given a peerage. Ms. Smith charged taxpayers for 2 porn films, which her now ex-husband later confessed to watching, and wrongly designated her sister's home as her main home for Commons allowances. She told BBC One's Question Time in 2009, "I don't think people who have been disgraced should go to the Lords." Pressed on whether that included her, Ms. Smith replied, "Yes, I think, to a certain extent I have been." Government sources said last night those events were over a decade ago. Ms. Smith was approached for comment. Ms. Smith, who is now making a comeback to politics as a peer, previously lost her seat in 2010. She held numerous titles whilst Tony Blair was at the helm of the UK in education and health and at one point was his chief whip. During Gordon Brown's reign, she firmly established her place in the cabinet as Home Secretary. However, Ms. Smith was not the only familiar face from Tony Blair's era to be appointed to Keir's new cabinet. Douglas Alexander has also been ushered in as a business minister as the new Prime Minister beefs up his cabinet. He has stepped away from politics after being the MP for Paisley and Renfrewshire South for 8 years, between 1997 and 2015. However, last week he won over the electorate bagging his current position as MP for Lothian East. During the Blair era, he was Transport Secretary, Scotland Secretary and Chancellor of the Duchy of Lancaster. The Labour Party are also said to be recruiting Alan Milburn, who previously served as Sir Tony's Health Secretary, in a bid to breathe a new lease of life into the NHS. According to The Telegraph, Mr. Milburn's reintroduction to the fold signals a possible focus on the private sector. This comes shortly after Starmer was quick to work in establishing his new cabinet on Friday afternoon. Angela Rayner walked the cobbles of Downing Street in a bright green power suit as she prepared to be appointed Deputy Prime Minister and Levelling Up Secretary. Rachel Reeves became Britain's first female Chancellor, while David Lammy was appointed the new Foreign Secretary, Yvette Cooper the new Home Secretary, and Wes Streeting the new Health Secretary. All of them enjoyed introductory tours of their new Whitehall departments as they met with officials. But they were also immediately challenged by the myriad of crises they will have to battle over the coming weeks and months. Union bosses have also demanded Mr. Streeting come forward with a credible offer to end the junior doctors' dispute on pay, as they eye a 35% wage hike. Mr. Lammy vowed to support an immediate ceasefire in Gaza after witnessing an election backlash in some parts of the country over Labour's stance on the Middle East conflict. In a speech to Treasury staff, Ms. Reeves promised to boost Britain's economic growth as her central mission, and Ms. Cooper pledged to set up a new border security command to tackle the Channel migrant crisis, as she prepares to scrap the Tories' Rwanda deportation scheme. Although many of the newly promoted ministers looked forward to diving in the deep end, Sir Starmer decided there was no place for Emily Thornberry in his government. Although the politician had loyally served as Shadow Attorney General over the last few years, Starmer opted for Richard Hermer KC as his Attorney General whilst also handing him a peerage. It comes after Ms. Thornberry caused embarrassment for Sir Keir during the general election campaign with her admission that Labour's plan to charge VAT on private school fees risks increasing class sizes in the state sector. Over 3/4 of the Prime Minister's top team is likely to be state-educated when finalised. As his first act in Downing Street, Starmer has largely brought in ministers who come from working-class backgrounds into his cabinet. Among the 650 of current MPs, 63% received a state education, the highest percentage on record.